for slope and rate of change. Our learning targets for today are I can explain the meaning of slope and I can find the slope of a line. Now looking at slope and rate of change, unit rate is a ratio that's often used to compare different quantities. So we think about miles per hour, let's say 50 miles per 1 hour, or cost per item, let's say $3.99 for 1 gallon of gas. We're comparing two different things in a fraction. Now, when we look at unit rate in our coordinate plane, we can describe it as our slope. So when we think of unit rate or slope, we find the ratio of the change in the dependent variable, which is the y in our coordinate plane, and then we find the change in the independent variable, which is the x in our coordinate plane. We take these as a fraction, so we find the change in y over the change in x. This little triangle symbol is called delta. It means change. When viewing slope from a graph, we have four different types of slope. We read lines in a coordinate plane from left to right, just like we read a book. So if I'm reading from left to right and my slope is increasing, then I have a positive slope. In this diagram, my change in y would be positive because I'm going up from left to right. And then my change in x would be positive because I'm going to the right. A positive divided by a positive is a positive. So a line going up from left to right is a positive slope. A negative slope decreases from left to right because if I go down from left to right, that's negative. And then if I go to the right, that's positive. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. So a line going down from left to right is a negative slope. A zero slope is a horizontal line because I'm not changing my y-coordinate. That would be 0. When I have 0 in the numerator of a fraction, when I simplify, I will still have 0. And then an undefined slope is a vertical line. Because I don't change my x-coordinate, I would have 0 in the denominator. When I have 0 in the denominator of a fraction, that's undefined because I can't make 0 groups of a quantity. Now I want to identify the type of slope shown by each line of the graph. Looking at line A first, notice I don't have a change in y, so that would be a 0 slope. Line B, from left to right, I'm decreasing, so that's a negative slope. Line C, I don't have a change in x, so that's an undefined slope. And then line D, from left to right, I am increasing, so that is a positive slope. Now, to remember the difference between 0 and undefined slope, I like to think about it like this. A 0 slope has a horizontal line. Horizontal has a z in it, that matches with 0. And then undefined slope is an up and down line. Up and down has a u in it, undefined has a u in it. Now to find the value of slope from a graph, we want a ratio to compare the vertical change, which is the change in my y-coordinates, to the horizontal change, which is the change in my x-coordinates. We call this rise over run. So again, we want the change in the y-coordinates and divide that by the change in the x-coordinates. To do this, we first choose any 2 points on the line. We like to choose points that are whole numbers because whole numbers is easy to find the change in y and the change in x. We count and set up a ratio of the change in y to the change in x. We simplify our ratio when possible. So for instance, if I have a fraction of, say, 6 over 3, this would simplify to 2 over 1. And then we always want to remember to check our sign. Remember, we have 4 different possible slopes: positive, negative, 0, and undefined. We want to make sure that our slope is correct when we have positive, negative, 0, or undefined. Looking at our first example, we want to follow the steps to find the slope of the graph. So we want to find our change in our y-coordinates, which is the rise, and then the change in our x-coordinates, which is the run. So I picked 2 nice points. Sometimes the points will be given to us, like in this example, and sometimes we will have to find the points. So my rise is from here to this point. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4 spaces up, and then my run is 1, 2, 3 spaces. So the slope or unit rate of the graph is 4/3. My slope is positive because from left to right I'm increasing my values, therefore I have a positive slope. Looking at number 2, I want to find the slope of this line. Again, the points are given to me, so that's nice. My rise would be up 1 space. My run would be over 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So my slope is 1/4. My third example, I don't have the points, so I want to find 2 nice points. So I'm going to use this coordinate point of 0, 7, because both those numbers are whole numbers. Then I'll use this coordinate point of 2, 6. I can use any 2 points on the line, so I could use 0, 7, and I could use 8, 3. However, the closer that I go, the less simplifying that I will have to do. If I find the 2 nicest points that are the closest together, I won't have to simplify. So my slope here would be down 1, so -1, and then over 2. So my slope is -1/2. And again, this line is the slope of a negative line because I'm going from left to right, decreasing. Number 4, again, I don't have the points, so I'm going to use this point here, 0, 0, and then this point here, 2, 9. So notice I go up 1, 2, 3, but also see that my y-axis scale is a scale of 3. So instead of going up 3, I'm actually going up 9. Then I go over 2. So my slope here is 9/2. Looking at number 5, again, I'm going to use this point here, 0, 0, and then this point here, 3, 4. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3. So my slope is 4/3. Number 6, I have a vertical line. The slope of a vertical line is undefined. And then number 7, I'm going to start here at 0, 0. I'm going to go here to 1, -2. I go down 2 spaces because my scale is 2, and then I go over 1 space. This slope is a negative slope, so I'd have a slope of -2. In today's lesson, we learned a positive slope increases from left to right, a negative slope decreases from left to right, a zero slope is a horizontal line, an undefined slope is a vertical line, and to find the slope from a graph, we calculate the rise, which is the change in the y coordinates, and divide it by the run, which is the change in the x coordinates. That's a wrap on today's video. We'll see you in the next one.